What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to regale you with the tale of my time shooting as a staff photographer at Vancouver Fashion Week. First of all, here, I'm gonna flex. Check this out, Yvonne staff badge. It's one of two flexes in this video. See if you can spot the other one. So, the day of, there's 3 days at Vancouver Fashion Week. Generally, I think it's a full week, but because of COVID, it's been pared down a little bit to be just like one weekend. So the first day, my call time was at 1 p.m., and that was the Friday. So I get in, have no idea what to expect. Feeling not out of my depth necessarily, but very unaware of my depth, you know? Like, I don't know what I'm walking into. And I get there, and I get my staff badge, and they're like, yep, makeup's upstairs, that's where you're gonna be shooting. Go upstairs, meet the head makeup lady, super sweet. Meet the other head makeup lady, super sweet. And they introduced me to the makeup team. And the makeup team is a team of 16 makeup artists in this room that is like, well, I was like, we're gonna fit 16 makeup artists and then 16 models at a time in this room. And honestly, the space worked out. But anyway, they all had little tables. Here's a picture of the room and the team. We all did like this big like kind of cheer thing, like team building. And the head makeup lady, Sandy, reminded us all that this is actually the biggest industry event in Canada. Like, there is no bigger fashion event in Canada, and especially not one that has been going on during COVID. So this is the biggest. And being able to shoot here, being able to do makeup here for the makeup artists is like, it's pretty big. It's a pretty big deal, which is why I was so excited and why I wanted to make this video. With a renewed sense of importance, I got to work photographing the makeup team that first day. There was a bunch of models that I knew, so I quickly became pretty comfortable in that environment because honestly, like, makeup artists are the sweetest souls. Their job is to make other people beautiful for a living. So they are like kind, nurturing, gentle people. And I could hang out with them all day. They're also great at making conversation because they see so many people very intimately on a daily basis. And they had 15 minutes per model. So they were like banging them out. I was really impressed because I can't do my makeup in 15 minutes. I can only imagine. Anyway, after that, I went down to do some street style. So as guests were coming in, the doors opened at 4:30, I believe. As guests were coming in, I was standing outside with my camera, and when I saw particularly well-dressed guests or ones that just looked like they had something that they had put together, like on purpose, I was like, hey, like, can I grab your photo? And I was so nervous about that at first because, like, I don't know what the Fashion Week crowd is gonna be like, right? Like, I feel like a lot of people, when they think of high fashion, they think like hoity-toity folks, blah, blah, blah. But no, these people were absolutely lovely, super glad to have their pictures taken. I think literally over the entire weekend, only one guy said no. Actually, hang on, I'm gonna take my earrings out because I'm worried that they might be making sound and interfering with my microphone because my microphone is here and my earring is here. And I had to refilm a video one time because my hair was brushing against the microphone and it was a nightmare anyway. So after like an hour or two of that, I was like, okay, I am comfortable doing this. And I only had about an hour or two to do that because then it was time for the first fashion show of the night and also the first fashion show that I have ever been to. And being able to be a staff photographer at my very first fashion show ever, I feel pretty proud, dude. I'm pretty happy with how this weekend went. The first like fashion show, the way that it works, they have like 3 designers or 2 or 3 designers will do their run at a time, and then there's an intermission, and then they'll do the next 2, 1, 2, and then another intermission. And during those intermissions, people get up and like chat, and like you can get pictures of people out on the runway, and like everybody kind of fills the runway. There's this beautiful lighting. The first segment before the intermission, I had a really bad spot. I was like behind all of like the dude photographers who have been doing it for like 40 years, who have lenses that cost more than my house. Just kidding, I don't have a house that costs more than my car. And so there was like a bunch of those guys. And so I was kind of behind them and I was like up on bleachers and like kind of ducking so that I wasn't behind the ceiling because there was like a bit of a ceiling lip and that wasn't great. The second, like after the intermission, I got this spot that was kind of down on the floor, kind of on the other side. So the models come up the runway, turn the corner, and then I get them just as they're turning the corner and I'm on the floor. So I'm like front row and I'm like got a nice angle to it and there's lights that hit them right there. So that was fabulous. And that was kind of the spot that I camped out in for all of the runway shows for the remainder of the weekend. I don't know why none of the other like fancy professional photographers who had been doing it for 40 years wanted that spot. A lot of them were just kind of like clambering over each other for the one shot of the model coming down the runway. But honestly, I think it was a unique angle and the lighting was really good. Another thing that I should mention is just like the lighting in this runway show was fabulous. I was able to shoot at 200 ISO and 250 shutter speed. So I was shocked by that because I don't think I've ever shot that combo. I think it's a 2.8 aperture. I don't think I've ever shot that combo of settings indoors at night before, so that was pretty fantastic. So that night, I knew that I had a lot of photos to go through, and I wanted to get a jump on it. So I went home kind of early, went home like probably 15 minutes after the show ended. Beeline home, edit all my photos until like 1 in the morning. 1 in the morning, I'm like, okay, I have edited 175 photos. I need to go to bed. Wake up the next day and my call time is at 9 a.m. the next day. And I didn't know this, but the entire first half of the day was actually a kids fashion show. So there's tiny children running around everywhere, and they're all in like ball gowns and like Mountain Equipment co-op outfits, and like one of them's in Moschino, I don't know how to pronounce that brand, but you know which one I'm talking about. They are so cute, dude. I cannot, like, these like little tiny children with their little tiny child hands are like getting their makeup done, and the makeup artist just like, oh my god, it killed me. I got so many adorable pictures. I'm honestly still going through a bunch of those pictures. I'm going through a bunch of the runway pictures too. Like, you'll notice there's not a ton of runway pictures in this video, and that's because I haven't had a chance to go through them all. I got 9,500 photos over the course of this weekend, and I have edited about 350, maybe a little bit more. So I've edited all the street style, most of the makeup, and none of the runway. But I'll throw a few edited runways in this video just because I love you guys and I want you to see my hard work and also the angle I was talking about. Anyway, children, they're adorable. Oh my god. They've got this one designer who just does this like cute little cottagecore outfits. So sweet. And after that, we transitioned back into the world of adult fashion. We have a bunch more models come in. There's like, yeah, some crazy looks. Absolutely fantastic. So at about 4:30, I go down and I start doing street style again. And this time I was like asking everybody like, hey, street style. And you know what? It was great because the location of Vancouver Fashion Week was a place that I have shot many times before. So I shot this set there, and I shot this set like really nearby. So I know that area extremely well. I shot there as an amateur photographer. I've shot there a lot this year. So I know all like the angles and the perspective areas and the interesting places and the places where the colors kind of match up. And so I was intentionally picking out people whose outfits matched the background. And so like people were wearing reds and blacks and beiges, and like this couple was matching this statue, and I just think that's so cool. Like the colors work out so well, and so super happy with that. Got a bunch of good shots, and I stayed out a little bit too long, and I actually missed the first fashion show, which I was kind of choked because the first fashion show was like this crazy avant-garde thing, and the makeup art was great, and I totally missed it, and I was really choked. But I learned that I had missed the fashion show because some girls came out, and they were like, hey, will you take a picture of us? And I was like, you guys are wearing very nice clothing. Are you walking in the show? And they're like, yeah, we just did. And I was like, no, I missed it. Went back inside immediately because I did not want to miss the next one. Sat down, met some really lovely other lady photographers there. I will link some profiles in the description of other photographers who I met in the photographer pit because we were all kind of sitting on that same side. It was like one half of the photographer's pit was all like older dudes with their giant expensive camera lenses on tripods, and then the other half of the photographer's pit was all like young ladies sitting on the ground. So I met a whole bunch of them. They were all super nice. And then it was time for the next fashion shows, so loved those, got a bunch of cool pictures there, and then it was time to go home. I think I got out of there at like 8:30 or 9, and I was just so exhausted. But I get home, and again, I edit till 1 in the morning. I'm like, I am not screwing around because I knew that these photos would just pile up. So I sort them all, edit them all. I got to get them off my memory cards because I only have 256 gigabytes worth of storage space. So I don't even have enough storage space to leave them on there. And the next morning, I wake up at 9 o'clock again, and I get there again, and it's again children. There's tons of children. This time they have these like really, really cool makeup looks. Like they've got little stars and like these cool like stripes and things like that. So we had a lot of fun with the children. Down below, like once it was time for the children to go on the stage, they were all kind of like swarming my camera. Oh my god though, there was this one little girl, and the makeup artists are coming around and they've got their palettes full of like the face paint to put the stripes on their faces. And this little girl reaches up and she puts her whole hand in the palette of the face paint, and the makeup artist grabs her hand and is like, no, 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 no. And the little girl's like this, and the makeup artist is like grabbing her hand, like little girl just like slips out of her grip and just paint covered hand goes straight onto her like freshly make-upped face. And the makeup artist is just like, you saw that, right? And I was like, I saw that. So I grabbed the little girl's hands. I'm like, here, let's give you a little hand massage with these like wet wipes. And the little girl is like trying to get her hand out, and then she reaches up to my eyelid and she just like strokes my eyelid because it's got shiny stuff on it. I'm like, that's fine, just don't touch your clothing, dear. So that was funny. Then we transitioned back into the world of the adults. Go back upstairs, and a bunch of models are already getting their makeups done. Shoot a bunch more up there, and then go back out for my last round of street style. I got, again, a ton of great street style shots. Super happy with that. And then I knew that this was my last night, so I was like, I'm not gonna miss the runway show this time. Go back inside at like 5:30, get the runway show, and this time I was really, really like, this is my last night. I'm gonna take as many photos of as many people as I possibly can. And so this night I was like, in between the shows, like during the intermissions, I was out on the runway, like approaching people, like, hey, you look awesome, can I grab your picture? Got some pictures of like designers with their collections. And after the show, I don't know where the other photographers were. I got a bunch of pictures that were just like unobstructed views of all of the models with the designer. I was like taking pictures every single second of these intermissions and afterwards, and I stayed till the very last. Like, stayed until every single other person was gone. We're like packing up the stage, and I was like, okay, I gotta go. I'm not gonna take any more pictures. One thing that I didn't mention too was on the second day, and I should have said this, on the second day, Tika the Iggy is a very famous dog, and she was there, and she came backstage, and I got some pictures of her with like the hair people, and she is the sweetest little dog. She's like a fashion influencer. She's an Italian Greyhound. She's got very little fat and very little fur, so she needs these clothes to stay warm. And her fathers are like fashion designers or something. I don't know if they make the clothes or if they're buying the clothes, but she is the most stylish dog probably on the planet. I don't know. And she walked in the show. I don't think I got a great picture of that, unfortunately, because she's a dog and she's like kind of all over the place. But yeah, that was really cool seeing the dog walk in the fashion show as well. So yeah. Anyway, I know that was a bit of a ride, but that was my experience at Vancouver Fashion Week with photos as evidence. I am still just like kind of mentally recovering from both the thrill of it and the exhaustion of editing photos till 1 a.m, like 4 nights in a row, 5 nights in a row, till Wednesday. Wednesday I was like, okay, you know what, I'm done. The rest will come in time, but this is it for me now. Overall, the experience was absolutely mind-blowing, and I feel now that I've finally got my foot in the door, which is not something that I felt with photography yet. Anyway, I'm going to take next week off because I am more tired than I've ever been in my life. Not just because of Fashion Week, but because I had a bunch of shoots this week as well. I had 2 client shoots and then a huge collab and then another collab today. I'm like, okay, and I work my regular job also, so I need some time. So I'm going to take some time off, which I'm still going to work on my regular job, but I'm not going to do anything photography related other than next week's video, which I suspect will actually be the video essay that I teased like 3 videos ago. So yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care. Stay sharp. I hope you had a happy Halloween. And don't forget to keep shooting. Bye, guys.